That monthly Social Security check isn't just income. It's the exact document that unlocks legal permanent residency in 8 different countries right now. Most people never find out. The information is scattered, buried in legal sites, or written for lawyers rather than actual retirees. This video cuts through all of that. 8 countries, real income thresholds, the residency path each one unlocks. Starting now. Panama is the gold standard for this conversation, and that reputation is completely earned. The country's pensionado visa was specifically designed to attract retirees, and Social Security income is explicitly listed as qualifying income. The threshold sits at $1,000 per month. That number alone makes Panama one of the most accessible options on this list. What most retirement guides skip over is how aggressively Panama wants you to stay once you arrive. Permanent residency through the pensionado program is not a distant goal. It is granted quickly, without the multi-year waiting periods common in other countries. On top of that, the government mandates a nationwide discount program for pensionado holders, 50% off entertainment, 25% off restaurant bills, 15 to 20% reductions on healthcare services and prescriptions. These are legally required discounts, not suggestions. Panama also taxes no foreign-sourced income. Social Security income arrives, and none of it gets handed back to the Panamanian government. For mobile data on arrival, the Saley eSIM link is in the description. And just to set the stage before moving south, every country coming up on this list also qualifies Social Security as the primary income proof. That pattern is not a coincidence. It is policy. Costa Rica has a reputation for ecotourism, pricey coffee, and American travelers. What it also has is a pensionado visa framework almost identical to Panama's, built on the same qualifying income floor of $1,000 per month from Social Security. But here is the part most people miss. Costa Rica's path to permanent residency runs through a 3-year window. After 3 years on the pensionado visa in good standing, full permanent residency becomes available. That is a clear, structured timeline, not an open-ended process. The quality of life argument for Costa Rica is real. The government has maintained democratic stability for decades. The healthcare system consistently ranks well by Latin American standards and aligns closely with US care models, which matters enormously for anyone managing chronic conditions or medications. One underreported detail. Costa Rica allows pensionado holders to import household goods duty-free once. For anyone relocating permanently, that provision carries real monetary value. So the income threshold matches Panama, the residency path is defined, and the lifestyle infrastructure is genuinely built for this demographic. That combination is hard to argue against. Which of these feels most realistic on a Social Security income? Drop it in the comments. Colombia enters this conversation differently from the first two. The pensionado visa framework is the same mechanism, but the income threshold drops slightly, sitting in the range of $900 to $1,000 per month, with Social Security qualifying directly as pension income under Colombian immigration law. What makes Colombia worth flagging is Medellín specifically. Medellín now has the fastest growing expat infrastructure in Latin America. The city sits at an elevation that produces a climate described locally as eternal spring. Average temperatures hover around 72 degrees Fahrenheit year-round. Colombia's residency advantage is not just about the threshold or the lifestyle. There is a tax treatment angle that most guides either get wrong or leave out entirely, and it becomes relevant the moment legal residency is established. Colombian permanent residency is available after 5 years of holding the pensionado visa. The cost of living, particularly in Medellín, remains substantially below US equivalents, even as the city modernizes. That gap is the real financial lever here. Flight prices to Colombia can be checked using the Kiwi link below. Ecuador changes one variable that none of the previous countries can match. It uses the US dollar as its official currency. There is no exchange rate to monitor, no currency depreciation risk, and no conversion calculation needed when budgeting monthly expenses against a fixed Social Security payment. The visa mechanism is called the Jubilado visa, and it is Ecuador's retirement-specific residency pathway. Social Security qualifies directly. The income threshold is approximately $800 to $900 per month, making Ecuador one of the lower bars on this list. Cuenca, located in the Andes Highlands, has been repeatedly listed among the top retirement cities in the world by multiple independent ranking organizations. Healthcare costs in Ecuador run significantly below US prices, and the dollar-denominated economy means those costs stay predictable. The path from Jubilado visa to permanent residency is well established, and Ecuador's immigration infrastructure for retirees has been in place long enough that legal and relocation services specifically for this process are widely available. Dollar income, dollar economy, no translation layer between the check and the wallet. That is a structural advantage worth taking seriously. And now the entire conversation changes. Because this next option doesn't just offer residency, it opens the door to Europe. The D7 passive income visa is the mechanism here. Social Security classifies directly as passive income under Portuguese immigration criteria. The monthly threshold sits at approximately $1,200, the highest so far on this list, but still accessible on a modest Social Security payment. What the D7 unlocks is European Union residency status. That means freedom of movement across the Schengen area, 27 countries accessible without border checks. After 5 years of legal residency in Portugal, citizenship eligibility opens. An EU passport at the end of that path is not a minor detail. Portugal's non-habitual resident tax regime, known as NHR, has undergone changes since 2024. The original 10-year flat rate tax structure has been modified. As of 2026, incoming applicants should verify current NHR status and any transitional arrangements directly with a Portuguese tax advisor before relying on prior published figures. Latin America or Europe? Which direction makes more sense for the audience watching this? That question is worth sitting with, because the next country takes the exact opposite approach. For deeper country reports and residency research, check out Horizon Insider below. The next country solves a problem none of the others can: staying close to home. Mexico borders the United States, meaning for anyone in the 35 to 65 age range managing US-based family ties, property, or healthcare needs that require periodic returns, proximity is not a lifestyle preference. It is a logistical reality. The residency mechanism for Mexico is a temporary residency visa based on income proof. The threshold is higher than most Latin American equivalents, approximately $1,600 to $1,620 per month in consistent documented income. That figure should be verified against 2026 published rates as Mexico adjusts these thresholds periodically. Social Security statements serve as qualifying income documentation. The process involves an initial application through a Mexican consulate before entering the country, which distinguishes Mexico's process from some other options that allow in-country applications. The existing American expat community in Mexico is the largest outside of Europe by some estimates. Cities like San Miguel de Allende, Puerto Vallarta, Mérida, and Lake Chapala have extensive English language infrastructure, international medical facilities, and housing markets that cater directly to this demographic. Temporary residency converts to permanent residency after 4 years. The combination of proximity, infrastructure, and a defined timeline makes Mexico one of the most pragmatic choices on this entire list. Short stay accommodation options for a scouting trip can be explored using the Expedia link in the description. Now, this next country completely breaks the pattern you've seen so far. The long-term resident visa, commonly called the LTR, is Thailand's premium residency product. To qualify under the passive income category, which is where Social Security would be assessed, the requirement is $80,000 per year in verifiable passive income. That translates to approximately $6,667 per month. This is not an entry-level option. It is a high-bar, high-benefit tier. However, Thailand also maintains a separate retirement visa pathway. That route requires either $2,000 per month in income or $25,000 held in a Thai bank account. For many Social Security recipients, the retirement visa income route or the deposit route may be the more realistic access point. What Thailand offers in return is significant. 0 personal income tax on foreign-sourced income for LTR holders. World-class private healthcare at a fraction of US costs. A fully developed expat ecosystem, particularly in Chiang Mai, Bangkok, and Phuket. The LTR is listed here because it represents a different category of residency, structured for high net worth retirees. The retirement visa is the accessible door. Both are worth knowing exist, and the final country has the lowest income requirement on this entire list. Nicaragua closes this list, and it deserves more attention than it typically gets in retirement planning conversations. The income threshold for Nicaraguan pensionado residency is approximately $600 per month. That is the lowest qualifying bar in the Western Hemisphere for a program that leads to permanent residency. Social Security qualifies directly. The program has been in place for years and is actively promoted by the Nicaraguan government to attract foreign retirees. Nicaragua also carries the lowest cost of living in Central America. Basic monthly expenses, housing, food, utilities, transportation, can be covered at a level impossible to match in Panama, Costa Rica, or Colombia at equivalent quality. For someone collecting a smaller Social Security benefit, Nicaragua changes the math entirely. The country receives less coverage in mainstream retirement media. That absence should not be mistaken for a warning. It reflects the audience those publications target, rather than anything about Nicaragua's actual legal framework for foreign retirees. Cities like Granada and San Juan del Sur have established expat communities, infrastructure for foreign residents, and access to Pacific coastline that rivals more expensive neighboring destinations. $600 per month, permanent residency pathway. Lowest regional cost of living. That combination is the quiet variable in this entire conversation. Here is what this list reveals when viewed as a whole. Social Security income, a fixed federal payment that millions of Americans receive automatically every month, is legally recognized as qualifying income for permanent residency programs in countries spanning 3 continents. The thresholds range from $600 at the low end to over $6,000 at the premium tier. Most of the accessible options sit between $800 and $1,600 per month. The decision framework is not complicated once the eligibility question is answered. Dollar-denominated economies like Ecuador remove currency risk. EU residency through Portugal opens a passport pathway. Proximity to the US through Mexico preserves logistical flexibility. Lower thresholds through Nicaragua and Ecuador expand access for smaller benefit amounts. Cultural and climate preferences sort the Latin American options from each other. None of these programs require giving up US citizenship. None of them cancel Social Security payments. Residency abroad and continued Social Security eligibility are compatible. The Social Security Administration pays to international bank accounts and foreign addresses in most cases. And that process is straightforward. What is worth knowing before moving forward with any of these is that individual circumstances, benefit amount, health status, family ties, tax situation, and risk tolerance will determine which option is actually viable, rather than just interesting. The research step is the starting point, not the finish line. The 8 countries covered in this video represent a documented policy-backed connection between a US government payment and legal residency abroad. That connection exists independent of financial markets, investment returns, or any other variable. The same Social Security check that lands in a US bank account every month could legally unlock a completely different life abroad. The only question is, which country fits that number best?